a lobby happening to get the state legislature to put labels on Gulf shrimp and all seafood.
Yeah, it's been a big talker lately, and joining us to talk about that effort, Mississippi Department of Marine Resources Executive Director Joe Spraggins. Thanks so much for being here. You're one of the people that has the finger on the pulse on the seafood industry, and right off the bat we saw what happened this week with some of those fines and prison terms on the mislabeling. And one thing you were saying, that's an issue and you want to get that rectified, but also there's a lot of people here, restaurateurs, processors, that type of thing, who are doing the right thing. So you want it stopped, but at the same time you don't want to throw the other people into it as well, I guess, right?
That's true. I mean, the majority of the people are trying to do what's right, and the process of being able to say so many of them were correct, and it left it like it was a lot were not. Well, they didn't. There's a lot that wasn't checked. I can tell you that. There's a lot of restaurants and all that was not checked, and seafood processors and all. But the point is, how do we help it? How do we find a way to help the restaurants and everything? How do we find a way to help them be able to publicize what they're doing? They're not required to right now. So, I mean, how to say they did or did not say it was Gulf Fresh? Well, let's don't go there. Let's find a way to help them.
Yeah, and it seems like all the restaurants in the area, if they had their choice, they would rather have locally produced seafood. And so this is part of the process in helping those restaurants get there. And ideally, if you had a bill passed in the legislature this year, what would be the wording on that as far as making sure we have locally produced seafood in as many places here on the coast as possible?
Well, what we would do is basically marry off of similar to what the catfish bill was, that you just have to label it. Is it domestic or is it not? So,
and require that. That's the way it's labeled.
And that's what we're asking for, to be able to put something to where you have to put it on there. Not saying that you can't serve import. That you can serve import fish, import shrimp, anything. That's fine. And but the point is, at least put it as import. And that'll give the consumer a chance to look at it, and the consumer can say, hey, I'll either pay, whether it's more or less, it doesn't matter what the number is. They will pick their choice, and they will say, yes, I want Gulf Fresh. And that's one of the things we're going to push for, is Gulf Fresh on it. And hopefully maybe we can even put together something to where we put it on your restaurant to say that they serve Gulf Fresh. Anything that we can do to help you.
We saw that campaign as early as this week with the patriotic prongs sticker. Now, you were saying this possible legislation would be kind of mirrored what happened back in the 70s with the catfish industry. I didn't realize it went back that far, so it's got the same kind of feel to it. This has happened before, just with a different genre or species, I guess, right?
That's true. And we're right now trying to decide whether we're going to do a standalone bill or we're going to marry up with the ag and do it on the catfish bill. And we met with Commissioner Gibson and his group this week, and they're looking at it for us. And we'll try to put it together and sit down and put the right wording together.
From what you can tell, there's going to be enough push behind it. You feel like you're going to have enough cooperation to get this through pretty quickly. It's always tricky in the legislature, though.
I never guess the legislature. We'll see what happens. I think we have a lot of local push from the local legislators to say that we would like to have this. And the point is, we're not trying to hurt anybody. We're not trying to hurt a restaurant or anyone else. We just want to be able to help people get more of a chance. If you're a tourist coming here, that you can look and say, because if somebody, anytime you put out something to say that it's not being done, well, that's the first thing people think. Well, I'm not getting fresh seafood, but there's a lot of people serving fresh Gulf seafood.
And with that in mind, I think we're in brown shrimp season right now, or recently we had that. Also, some of the oyster beds were open recently. I know a few of them closed, but you've got off-bottom oyster aquaculture going on. So I know the shrimp season isn't always what we'd love it to be, but it seems like it's gotten a little better, and the oysters have too, of course. That off-bottom's really kind of filling in for the traditional oyster farming. Is that correct?
It's true. The off-bottom has been in existence for about 5 years now, and I tell you, they're really doing a great job. We got around a little over 80 farmers that are doing it, and they can each have up to 2 acres, which is quite a bit when you go to harvesting oysters on off-bottom the way it is. We topped over 1 million oysters last year, so we're getting there. It's coming, and I think that we will see that in the future, and they're wonderful oysters. And I was talking to a gentleman today who's owned a company, and I don't want to advertise the company, so I won't say anything, but got a big order from a Beau Rivage to be able to. So, you know, people from the coast are buying, and they wanting to do it, and they wanting to sell it as Gulf oysters and Gulf shrimp and Gulf feed.
Makes it easy to market, doesn't it?
It does. Well, I mean, every time, I wasn't born and raised here, but every time I came here, I was expecting to get Gulf fresh.
Right, when you're close to the water, yeah, that's right.
Right there.
Now, leading up to the Super Bowl, I saw this initiative that they're doing in Louisiana where they're taking all of the oyster shells that are going to be used during that Super Bowl week, and they're going to try and make a reef out there offshore in Louisiana. And that's, you know, you're trying to do that here in Mississippi as well. Do you feel like, how much of a push there, or how important is it to continue these types of efforts? This is a kind of a creative effort, a way to bring publicity to it as well.
It is. One of the things we do, and then we're just got through taking applications, and we'll probably end sometime in January, the middle of January, they have time to correct anything in them. But we're going to release 80% of the bottoms for the oysters. That way, we can put private industry doing this. Private industry put skin in the game. They're going to continue to work hard at it. We can't maintain 12,000 acres. We don't have the people or the finance to maintain. But now, if we can lease 8,000 of it, and then let them be able to take care of that, then that's going to help us, and we'll still maintain our 20%, and we'll maintain it and continue to grow oysters, and we'll have some type of recreational seasons out of that, but you know, where people can go get oysters. But the goal is to do it and get the private industry involved, because that's what we need to do. Our job at the DMR is to enhance, protect, and conserve. That means that we're here to make sure it's there and to take care of the resource. It's the others to be able to maintain, as far as being able to sell that resource.
And take it where they want to go with it.
That's right. And watch for the Mississippi Sound of Freshwater Intrusion. That's always out there, but you guys are on that too.
We had a great meeting yesterday with Lieutenant Governor Hoseman and Nungasser and a group of the mayors, and so I think everything's going in the right direction.
All right.
Big. Yes,
Joe
sir.
Spraggins, the Executive Director of the DMR. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, and remember, when you go in, ask, is it Gulf Fresh?
You got
There you
it.
go.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yes,
and
sir.
we thank all of you for joining us here on WLOX News this week.